Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 MyTeam career mode. This is part 38 here in Monaco. If you did miss the last episode, it was our third career win for Oscar Piastri on the streets of Baku. And our teammate Alex Albon had an absolutely wicked weekend. He actually very nearly got a podium, so please go and check out that video if you have not yet done so. And it was also a horror weekend for ourselves with no points scored at all in the sprint race or the main Grand Prix. So yeah, please go and check out that one if you haven't seen it. And unfortunately, I've actually lost the footage to the performance chart. So pretty much a quick spiel based off last weekend was Aston Martin was still the fastest on the grid, and between McLaren and Red Bull, it was a chase who could get to Aston Martin first, and myself, Mercedes and Ferrari were all very close on the pace together. So hopefully we can be somewhere towards the front and just hopefully stay within the top 10. Monaco's been a very happy hunting ground. If you do remember, the last two seasons we've taken victory here in Monaco, so can we make it 3 years in a row on the streets of Monte Carlo? As now we come to the well, we're actually here on lap 3 of this practice program, and you can see that we've not been able to get a good lap in on lap 1 and 2, and that's because we've had traffic on all of our laps. So I could slow down and try and get the overtake done on Iwasa here, or just slow down and try and create a gap, but I'm actually going to practice an overtake in the end, just to try and see good passing opportunities. In the end though, can't get enough laps in there to get what we needed. But from what the glimpses that we've got, the pace seems to be alright here. So now we come to the end of our fuel saving practice program, and it is going to be purple, so hopefully just to create a little bit of extra pace, we might be able to underfuel the car just slightly if we're able to actually have this good fuel saving. And now onto our final practice program here. On the first lap, we're going to nearly ace it, bar 2 corners where we slightly ran wide, and in the end it is going to be Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon and Zhou Guanyu is your top 3 here on the streets of Monte Carlo. Alex Albon P11 on the soft tyre, about 2.5 seconds back, so I reckon a lot of different strategies were done here in practice, and myself ended up being nearly 3.5 seconds off on the hard tyre. So definitely a lot of pace to find here if we want to get ourselves inside the top 10. But again, I reckon there was a few different practice programs being run through there, so not taking that into consideration too much. Is now coming to the end of our first flying lap. At the moment we sit P11. We've got some traffic leaving the pit lane, and we currently go fastest with a 1 minute 11.1. So can we improve on that? We've currently got a purple middle sector. We're low on fuel according to our engineer here, and we're going to go fastest once again, going 0.3 quicker that time round. And in the end, it's going to be Carlos Sainz, Liam Lawson in the Haas, Charles Leclerc is your top 3, Alex Albon P8, and myself P11. So both of our cars are seeming like we've got some pretty decent pace here, so hopefully we can continue that on into this next set of qualifying laps. Coming to the end here in Q2, it is going to be P9 at the moment, so not a fantastic lap to open up our account here. And now we're going to be going for another lap here, back-to-back fastest laps. Can we get something going? It's still only P11, so now we've thrown on a fresh set of tyres here, and you can see that because we've gone purple first sector, purple second sector, and what's it going to be when we cross the line? P1 by, well, that says nearly 9/10 of a second. I don't think it's going to be quite that much. And then now we're going to try and go for another fast lap, and we've hit the wall on the inside. It's thrown us to the outside wall, and we have ripped off both front wheels there. So I was just trying to set in another fast lap to see how well the tyres are degrading here, but all I've done is just thrown it into the wall. I don't know why I kept going for another lap. I really should have just backed it off there. I had P1 in the bag, and that probably would have kept me into Q3. As we now take a look here at the results. So it was Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, George Russell, your top 3. My lap time would have put me second place, so I would have made it into Q3 quite easily. Our teammate does make it into Q3 with the P6. I will be going into the Q3, it just won't be taking part, obviously, with a torn up car, so we'll be starting P10.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1 mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, Sargent, Albon, Sainz, the Rainmaster, Liam Lawson, Perez, Ocon, Magnussen, Joe, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Gasly, De Vries, Bottas, Tsunoda, Iwasa, and Felipe Drugovich. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson.
Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix.
Let me ask you about Alpine. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
Alrighty, and strategy-wise for this Grand Prix, we're going to go back to the old trusty. We haven't done this strategy in a little while, I don't think. So we're starting on the medium and going to the hard tyre. Definitely think that's going to be just the best way to go for this Grand Prix. Now we get ourselves ready for our formation lap. So in the end, I don't know what happened to Liam Lawson. Maybe a penalty or something. Or, yeah, whatever's happened, because we've now found ourselves P9 in the starting order, so I'll take that extra position. But yeah, definitely was expecting to start P10, so this is quite a surprise, as we've actually failed the pull up for the grid. Slightly hit the brakes slightly a little bit too late. It's now the lights start to light up. It's 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and it is away we go. A little bit of a slow reaction time for ourselves, but it's not as bad as Carlos Sainz. He's had an absolute shocker, as now the road is already clear by the time we get into turn 1, and someone's actually tried to go up inside there. As now we cut back to the view from the TV camera here to see that Max Verstappen is tucked into P3 here, and it is currently a McLaren 1-2 in this Grand Prix. And for ourselves, we have only made up the 1 position so far into P8, as now we're going to send an audacious dive on our teammate there. We're going to stay side by side as we now head into the casino hairpin here, and we're going to stick it around the outside. Hopefully he leaves us a little bit of room. There's a little bit of contact, but just enough room left between us and the wall, and so that will put us now up into P7 ahead of our teammate. Crucially, I didn't want to get stuck behind Alex Albon, whose race pace hasn't been fantastic so far this season. He's had fantastic qualifying pace in some races, as now we do an auto check here at the end of the at the end of the first opening 3 laps. So it's Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, McLaren 1-2, Max Verstappen rounds out the podium positions. And then it's George Russell, Logan Sargent, Charles Leclerc, ourselves in P7, leading our teammate Alex Albon in P8. Then it's Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez rounding out the final points paying position so far. Liam Lawson, Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, Zhou Guan Yu, Nico Hulkenberg, Stroll, Nick De Vries, Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, Valtteri Bottas, and then there's the 2 Williams of Felipe Drugovich and Ayumu Iwasa, currently sitting P21 and P22 on the road. And now back to our POV here. We're currently stuck behind Charles Leclerc, so we've dropped Alex Albon, we've caught up to Charles Leclerc, and so now we're going to send another really audacious dive on. We've got a little bit crossed up, locked up, and we make a little bit of contact, but now we're going to try and do what we did with our teammate Alex Albon and send it around the outside, but Charles Leclerc just completely forgot the turn there, and he's put us in the wall essentially. So we're going to have to try and make another overtake attempt here on Charles Leclerc if we're able to. In the end, we can't quite do it, and you see here a few laps later we're still stuck behind Charles Leclerc, and he's slowing us up that much. Now our teammate Alex Albon is now catching on us once again, so we're definitely losing too much time here now behind him. We're getting close to our pit window, so I'm going to say we're going to box this lap and try and get an audacious undercut on him done here and see how well we can go. We pull it into the pit lane, so now we're going to be going onto the hard tyres, if you remember from our strategy on the grid. hard tyres all the way to the end. It's a little bit of a longer stint than I wanted to, but hopefully we can try and make this work, an optimal turn in. So now it's up to the boys and girls in the pit lane for us to get a good stop at 2.2, so pretty much optimal pit stop as well. And so now it's all up to us to put in some good out laps here to try and get ourselves as far up the order as we can. The main goal is to jump Charles Leclerc because he is going ridiculously slow at the moment, as Sergio Perez sets the pace on those fresh medium tyres he's just come in to grab. As now Norris, he's in, race leaders in the pit lane. Is McLaren going to have any issues here which could maybe cost Lando Norris the lead here? Oscar Piastri will take the race lead as he was in P2. It looks like a very clean pit stop here, so Lando Norris is on the way, and once the pit cycle's gone through, he should come out as the race leader once again. And now crossing the line to start lap 20 of this Grand Prix, and there is Charles Leclerc. So we've managed to jump Charles Leclerc, but quite a bit actually. And Sergio Perez is also going to get himself past Charles Leclerc. So Leclerc's lost a few spots in that pit window there, and now we've caught up to the back of Stroll here in that Sauber, and he's got that little pace. We're able to just drive it, and in a very unconventional way, going to send it down the inside. It is nuts how much pace difference we've got on these fresh hard tyres compared to Stroll on those old medium tyres. So he's yet to make his pit stop. As now we're going to come around the final corner here, to head onto the main straight, and we're going to see if we're going to make up any further positions. There's Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson in the pit lane at the moment, and there goes George Russell as well. So we've managed to jump. Actually, I think it's going to make it 2 or 3 cars we've managed to jump here. So we now find ourselves in P5 of this Grand Prix. Now we make up another position as Ocon's in the pits. So he decided to go into the hards to the medium. So he's going to be pretty quick in this final stint of the race. And now we're doing an order check now. The pit phase has completed. So it's Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, McLaren 1-2, Max Verstappen on the podium. Ourselves managed to get ourselves up into P4. Then it's George Russell, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Logan Sargent, our teammate Alex Albon in P9, and Carlos Sainz rounds out the final points paying position at the moment on the streets of Monte Carlo. Then it's Liam Lawson, Zhou Guan Yu, Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, Nico Hulkenberg, Stroll, and then the 2 AlphaTauris of Yuki Tsunoda, and then Nick De Vries, and then it's Pierre Gasly, the Williams of Felipe Drugovich in P20, the Alpine of Valtteri Bottas in P21, and then Ayumu Iwasa in P22, rounding out the tail end of the field here. And now it was a pretty dead final stint of this Grand Prix, so we're going to immediately cut to Lando Norris crossing the line to finish P1 in this Monaco Grand Prix. It's a McLaren 1-2. Max Verstappen will finish on the podium as well. And for ourselves, it was a half-decent recovery drive.
What a fantastic Grand Prix that was, and an excellent win for McLaren. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm very happy to see them there on that top step of the podium.
And there we have it. Lando Norris claims his 8th career win in this F1 23 MyTeam Career World on the streets of Monte Carlo. So I reckon that's going to be Lando's first win around here, and it's a McLaren 1-2, which we have not seen for a little bit in this career mode. And then Max Verstappen rounds out the podium finish, and it was a good strategy for us as well to get us further up the order, as now we take a look at the race standings here. So the rest of the top 10 was myself in P4, George Russell, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Logan Sargent, our teammate Alex Albon in P9 to make it a double points finish for Jim's Racing by Brabham, and Carlos Sainz rounds out the final points paying position here in Monte Carlo. Now we take a look at the driver standings. So it is Lando Norris leading the way by 11 points over Sergio Perez. Myself, we're in 3rd place, 13 points off the lead, and Alex Albon with another point, so will find himself 11th, 74 points off the lead. And now McLaren leads the Constructors' Championship by 6 points over Red Bull Racing. Then Brabham, we've jumped Ferrari to claim 3rd, 62 points off the lead, as now we're back in the HQ, and they're requesting extra money to go towards the powertrain department, and I reckon I am going to approve this. If they're onto something and they want to get some extra cash, I'm going to give them that extra cash if it's going to give us that extra edge in this season. And that is going to be all for this episode. It's a bit of a shorter one, so hopefully it is still enjoyable for everyone, and I will see you in the next episode at Spain.